Okay, we're gonna get right into it here.
Ni hao kung pao chicken.
I already
What?
told Dennis to remind me next time to just hit the We've been talking for like 20 minutes about fucking Pawn Stars and nonsense.
Best I
and
could do 4,000.
I keep forgetting.
I'm gonna bet like Helena Taylor's like voice acting manager was like Chinese. Like, best I can do 4,000. That's all you get. So you pay me 4,000.
I think you got it mixed up with
And wonton soup.
I think you got it mixed up with fucking, the company that was lowballing her.
Yeah, it was probably
Her
run by
manager would not fucking offer to pay. Her manager is the one who probably pulled her to the side like, listen.
Best I could do.
Just fuck off.
Just fuck off.
All right. We're going to get right into it here.
Yeah, so,
remind me to just fucking hit record next time, like as soon as
pay-
the call goes up. And we've been talking for 20 minutes
Payo.
about nothing.
Payo, mayo, bayo.
Payo, Bayo. This is a topic that is actually, I'm actually pretty passionate about. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been following the story religiously.
This episode will be mostly David's episode.
I guess, yeah, because, like, this is definitely my topic. I had other topics, but, like, honestly, like, we could just split them all apart, but I'm probably going to wind up talking about this for a while. I'm just going to get right into it here. First of all, welcome to the Double D experience. Sometimes voicing, sometimes acting, but never paid above $4,000. Because that's what happened to Helena Taylor. If you've been living under a rock, or if you just don't care about the situation, which, whatever, good on you. Shut up. There was a, Bayonetta 3 as a video game. A huge video game. It was announced back in 2017 at this point when the Switch was new. They had a teaser trailer for this fucking game. The third game in the Bayonetta franchise, which is a huge franchise, originally from Sega. Sega originally created the IP with Platinum Games, I believe. And, yeah. The franchise is huge. It's a $450 million video game franchise. And there have been 2 games. 2. That's how innovative Bayonetta was. That's how iconic the character is. And while, yes, Bayonetta 3 already did technically come out 7 years ago with the release of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, because that game was basically Bayonetta 3. Let's be fucking real. That's how heavy that fucking British asshole dominated the meta of that fucking game. But here's what happened, right? Bayonetta is voiced by a voice actress named Helena Taylor. She's a British voice actress, done more stuff, has done theater, all sorts of things. Most of voice actors have done like a bunch of other stuff before, or have done other stuff before at least, or a lot of them have. She has been voicing Bayonetta since 2009. She has voiced the character. She originated the character, helped create her, and create her identity. And all the iconic lines that you know and you love Bayonetta for, like, if you want to learn how to talk to a lady, ask your mum. Which I believe is something that, the Platinum Games CEO used to literally say to people. And that's why they added that line to Bayonetta, if I'm not mistaken. He used to just respond, because the guy's a shitlord, he used to just respond to people saying, ask your mom. And that's why they added that line for Bayonetta. Helena Taylor made a series of tweet videos recently on Twitter, and they blew up. They got like 200,000 plus likes at this point, 9 million views on those videos. They really blew up on Twitter, got it trending and everything like that. So it's not even just like a minor industry issue anymore, or just an industry issue. It's reached the public space now. And people, this is an issue I've known about forever, personally. Not the Bayonetta one, but voice acting ones. And now I'm actually happy that this video blew up in the way that it did, because it lets people know now. Point is, she has announced that she is not voicing Bayonetta in the third game, and has walked away from the role because she is claiming that Platinum Games offered to pay her, and as their final offer, a flat rate, which means no residuals, no, perpetuity shit, nothing. Or, not perpetuity, that's the wrong word. Royalties, I should say. $4,000 to voice the entire game. A flat rate of $4,000, which I'm sure most of you can probably predict, but if you can't, for a voice actress at her level, a SAG-AFTRA actress, that's fucking insulting. And downright criminal, to be completely honest. There is, as a Nintendo brand ambassador, I should not be able to work however many weeks to make that much money for something that's that special of a training, or something like that. I had a better analogy lined up for like, something that, that's better for it or whatever, like how much some people make or whatever. It's just downright insulting. I've gotten into conversations with people who don't really understand much about it or say like, oh, I don't care. I don't care that much about the voice acting. What's the big deal? It's still a lot of money. If you don't care that much about the voice acting, play the fucking game on mute, asshole. That's what I'm going to tell you. Play the game on mute. You're going to do that? No, then I guess you fucking care.
Like
$4,000. What's gone, please?
Oh yeah, because I was even gonna say, like, at least when it comes to like the voice acting for games, and like not really something that I've been passionate about, but at least for the last couple of days I kind of thought about it. It's like it's something that people will say they don't care about until they find something wrong with it.
Until it's gone.
Yeah. Or it's gone. Yeah. So like, I mean, I guess another.
What is this place?
Yeah. Yeah. And another example would be, it's like I even imagined it's like, if let's say Martinet wasn't voicing Mario, right? And it was just like, wahoo! Like, yippee! Like, if that was like Mario's voice.
Which is what he originally sounded like. That's why they changed it. In the demos of Mario 64, he goes, wahoo! And it's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
So that's why I think people are, like, I think it's just something that people got to realize that's like, it is definitely not going to be something that you're going to think about all the time, but I think it is something that, it is something that you are going to think about when it, let's say, doesn't align with what, let's say, you think that character should sound like. Because everyone's got their own opinions. And as far as at least Jennifer Hale, who I heard is actually going to be replacing Taylor on the project, she sounds great and everything. Like, I got nothing against her or whatever. And, as far as even that project too, like, if let's say Taylor's departure did just torpedo that whole thing, and then people just out of jobs at that point, because it's like, well, fuck, like, we can't do nothing, like, because the voice acting is important. That's for damn sure. Like, the show's gotta go on, if you know what I mean.
Mario's original voice was not only more raspy, it was the same high pitch at the same time. Listen, look up the old. I'm sure you remember, like, 2020, the memes of every copy of Mario 64 is personalized. And so, like, it's like early demo builds of the game that are like possessed or some shit by like a demon, or like has personalization AI that makes every copy of the game personalized. And so, like, as part of making those memes and those ROM hacks complete is that they use Mario's original beta voice in it. And he goes like, yeah! Like, he sounds like that straight up. And it did not work, obviously, so you got to change it. So if you're saying it's not important, you don't understand that. And the thing is, it is important enough, which is why they casted Jennifer Hale instead. And this is a big part of where the story gets interesting to me, because Helena Taylor did not accept the role of Bayonetta because they offered her, according to her, they offered her a final rate of 4K flat out, no royalties, no nothing, which is insulting. And if that's the truth, it is good that she walked away from that shit.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's interesting because they casted Jennifer Hale, who is literally one of the most casted, respected, and well-known voice actresses ever.
Just reading off some of her filmography.
Name a thing, as Dennis is about to, that you've watched in the last 20 years. She's been in it. Please.
Okay, just gonna go back real quick. She was known to voice Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. So, any of y'all remember Mass Effect? A pretty big game. I don't know if you don't remember it. Samus Aran, also from Metroid Prime.
Gaming's first lady.
I had also no idea that Metroid Prime had voice acting. Because the first time I ever played Metroid Prime was also my last time, because I played for 5 minutes and then I never picked it up again. And I guess that's on me because, and this is nothing against all you Metroid fans, but I don't know. I just couldn't bring myself to finish it. And nothing against it. It's still like, still up there. Couple of others. She was in The Witcher, Scooby-Doo Guess Who, Looney Tunes cartoons, Kid Cosmic, Star Wars The Old Republic, Guild Wars, Overwatch 2 as Ash, if, for all you horny motherfuckers who ever played Overwatch, because, everyone knows, I play Overwatch for the gameplay, of course. And, yeah, obviously. And Bayonetta 3, which is of recent 2022.
Also Cortana, if I'm not mistaken. And
no,
she wasn't?
No, that was Jen Taylor.
Oh, that's right. I got the wrong gen.
Yeah.
I knew it would. Ah, shit. Okay.
She was in Powerpuff Girls, the
Yeah.
more recent one. Ralph. She was. Ralph breaks the internet. Oh, she was Cinderella. Okay, well, she's got a resume, if nothing else. She's got
ridiculous
a
resume. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about that resume. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. She did not accept the role. She did not accept 4K flat rate. I don't. This is like, you could speculate whatever as much as you want because we don't know how much Jennifer Hale is getting paid. I can tell you straight up, she did not accept $4,000 flat rate. There's no fucking way. I'm saying that as fact. So, the theory now is that Platinum Games, or Nintendo, whichever one you want to blame, because, you know, Nintendo doesn't, they own Bayonetta technically, but, like, they only, like, finance the projects, really, which is, you know, part of what makes you think maybe this was their fault, but at the same time, you know, you got Hideki Kamiya in charge of a lot of this shit, and that man is something. I'll get more into him later.
Oh, yeah, I heard what happened to him.
We'll get more into him in a bit, because, like, trust me, believe it or not, like, I already was passionate about this topic. This rabbit hole goes deep. We'll talk about it in a bit. Yeah, there's no way they paid Jennifer Hale 4K. So the theory that is spreading around the internet now is that they offered her 4K, which was actually, according to Helena Taylor, their final offer. They wanted to pay her less before that, I think, according to her. After negotiations, they paying her insultingly low rates that they knew she was not going to take.
Yeah.
To get her to quit so they could hire a bigger name, like Jennifer Hale, to voice Bayonetta instead.
Which is a tried and true tactic of, like, you know, people who are just trying to get people out of the fucking, like, you know, project. It's like just trying to basically force them out, and by giving them, like, an insultingly low pay.
That happens to them. That happens to people at, like, retail jobs at the lower level, too.
All the time.
You know, it's the same thing that happens. Yeah, all the fucking time. Like, fucking Pawn Stars, best we can do is... best we can do is 4K.
Potting off your wage, it's like, best we could do is $2. It's like,
but
and no benefits.
no benefits. She's SAG-AFTRA, so she gets benefits. That's the whole reason that voice actors and actors and actresses in general have the SAG-AFTRA unions and stuff like that. It's so they can get benefits and ensure that they don't get fucked by these contracts, to ensure that all these bad things don't happen. There's freelance actors, and even some union ones as well, that make this a bigger issue than it is, because this is breaching into video games now, which is bad. But I've known about this issue already, like, from some of the industry's finest telling me about these kinds of things, venting to me about them, as a matter of fact. This has been a problem in other aspects of voiceover for a long time, getting paid insultingly low rates. And the biggest place that this happens in, I hate to upset all your weebs out there, it's anime.
Yep.
Western actors, like American actors, Canadian actors, whatever, mostly American probably, I don't know, who do the dubs for animes. I have it bookmarked. I have it bookmarked, truthfully, because I wanted to save this one. Well, no, that's a thread. Pulling it up right here. Blah 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 blah. Some of those people are paid ridiculously criminal amounts of money. Like, there is one. Oh, I didn't save it to my bookmarks. I think I just liked that tweet instead. There is one actress, I believe, who did the dub, which is, you know, the English dubbed over version of, I think, Mob Psycho, I believe, as one of the main characters. I want you all to take a guess, or I want Dennis to take a guess. How much do you think she was paid?
$2.
Close, $150. Close, $150. Sure. But there are some of them who companies, you know, like that, have tried to get away with literally not paying them. With literally not paying them straight up. I'm still trying to find the fucking... Yeah, here it is. I believe it was, Anaris Quinones, I believe is the name of the, one. Like, the Crunchyroll Mob Psycho dub situation is ridiculous, because, like, those shows make, like, something like $30 million in the USA, and the dub actors were paid each, like, $300 for their role. It's like these companies are cartoonishly evil.
Mhm.
Like straight up. It's like, and then one actress was paid $150, no residuals, nothing. I make more than that in a fucking day as a Nintendo brand ambassador merchandising shelves. Think about that. I put that into perspective for yourselves. Seriously. And it's a huger problem in anime, but you get what this, I'm so passionate about this, because it's apparently seeping into fucking video games. Because now you got like esteemed like union ones, voice actresses like Helena Taylor, who are getting so shafted horrendously by this. And it's just disgusting. So she called on in her video for people, she went in. She called on people to not purchase Bayonetta 3. Straight up. And to take the money that you were going to spend on that game and donate it to a charity of your choosing. Noble, I will say, if not a little salty, understandably.
Yeah.
She also did say, like, you know, she didn't reveal who was the new voice actress of Bayonetta, but, like, she, like, said some kind of shit in there where she was just like, on part of it I understand because she originated the character, but she was just like, you will never be Bayonetta. Like, she is a part of my soul. She is a part of my soul. Like, I created this character, and it makes her so sad to not be able to voice her anymore. And until you create a character like that, you can't understand it. As cringy as it may seem for her to say that at the same time.
And let me just add, like, you know, and I agree with you, and I also somewhat don't agree with her.
It's literally based and cringe at the same time.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, why you gotta already dog on the new VA that's gonna replace you,
who might have not even known about this. We don't, as far as we know.
I mean, you know, like, as far as we know, you know, like, obviously, like, we don't know all the insider details. We don't work for what was it, Platinum Games? And
Platinum Games, yeah.
We're also not close with Helena or, you know, Jennifer, but because, I mean, yeah, like, that was your baby, and I get that. Like, that would be the exact same for anyone who ever had, like, a big hand in creating anything. Basically being told that, like, oh, yeah, you're not going to be that character no more. Or you're
Taylor
not
was in tears when she said that, by the way.
Which, no, obviously.
Or it was, like, borderline in tears. Like, you could hear her voice start to whimper.
Who wouldn't, though? And, like, you know, but at the same time, it's like, you know, why, like, Jennifer didn't even do anything. Like, she, like, that was, it's just, you know, for her, you know, I think she probably the last couple of days, she understands, like, where Helena is coming from. And I don't think, honestly, Helena is going to have any bad blood between them two, because I think, yeah, especially right now, like, Helena is just kind of like,
she also said in the video, like, don't go after the fucking voice actress.
Exactly.
This is not her
She's just angry she was just angry at that moment. And she rightfully deserves to be. Like, you know how people are when they get angry. Like, everyone's kind of like, you know, it's like the nearest person's going to get my wrath, like, essentially. And, you know, I mean, I feel as if it's like, as long as there's no, like, bad blood between the two of them in the future, it's like, okay, like, then whatever. I think, you know, Elena's probably still gonna just, like, always have that as a chip on her shoulder for, like, a long time, just because, like, you know, I had a hand in creating this character, and I brought life to this character. I literally brought the soul for this character.
Yep. And
now I am essentially gonna be almost forgotten. And I mean, and I'm also going to add just a bit of a, maybe not like a caveat, or I would like to say, but it's like her calling on, like, the whole boycott and, like, oh, don't buy the game and go and instead, like, you know, go donate it to, like, a charity of your choosing and all that. Facts is, it's not going to stop people from buying this game. And if she had come out and said this, because the game's coming out in 10 days, it's a little too late to stop that, in my opinion, when there's 10 days away and people already dropped their pre-orders for it and everything.
I've seen people cancel them, yeah.
But the sales are still going to be, like, crazy big. Like, the numbers are still going to be, like, you know, they're still going to make a good payday for Platinum. And, I mean, the bad press is, like, obviously unfortunate for them in their eyes, but we'll still weather through it, and we're still gonna get that bag because, one, the game is still great. I don't think, like, you know, I'm not saying that there aren't people that do, like, that don't care about it, but, like, personally for me, I'm not getting the game because, you know, I always thought, at least from a distance, like, yeah, Bayonetta always looked fucking great and everything, but I already got my hack and slash fix from Devil May Cry. So I also, like, I don't know, the style was always great. I never gave it shit for that or anything. It's just like I already had my hack and slash fill with Devil May Cry, and that's where, like, I'm gonna go for, like, if I ever do need it again. But, like, I don't know. I guess my other thoughts on it too, like, because again, my investiture in this, or like my investment into this whole issue, is nowhere near as big as David's or whoever else is, like, so passionate about, like, you know, who's even a VA to begin with, like, working on any project. And the one thing that at least I'll say that I really didn't like was just the fact that, like, oh, they're disposable. Like, yeah, you brought the life to the character and all that, but we'll find another. It's like 4,000. Take it or leave it. Or literally just get the fuck out without saying a word and just leave. Make our lives a little easier, why don't you? That's their attitude towards them, at least from what I've seen. And it's so odd to see that, considering where you'd think that a place like, let's say, Japan, right, where they treat their workers low-key like sweatshop workers, VAs and animators all alike, like, you know, their entire
Work
industry.
culture's pretty bad over there.
Yeah.
It's like, it's super grindy.
But it's so weird where, I mean, and I guess not really weird, because at least in Japan, like, 2D animation and even voice actors in general are a more valuable, at least for companies, higher currency than regular actors, because people just engorge themselves in anime by the fucking millions.
Voice acting is definitely, it's easier to learn about, and I guess easier to break into than it's ever been, but at the same time, it is the more competitive than it has ever been either. It is quite oversaturated because everybody and their dick wants to do voiceover now. And,
which, I mean, hey, like, you know, chase your dreams and all that, but
yeah,
that's just the market you're going to have to face.
That and the amount of people who, like, want to do it, like, full time, or not even to do it full time, but, you know, quite frankly, no disrespect, take it seriously. Yeah. But, yeah. The thing with this is that it just sucks all around, because, like, there's people who are calling to pirate the game, and
which I may do, by the way. I might do it. Yeah, go ahead.
Literally, I, as a, you know, temporary Nintendo brand ambassador, cannot, you know, tell you to yo-ho, Pirate Bay the game for me. But I can't stop you either. Yeah. It's not my job. But at the same time, it sucks for all the people who work their asses off on the game as well. I mean, but those people get paid anyway. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, if the game doesn't sell well, they don't get paid. But, you know, the game does well, they get other opportunities further on down the line. It doesn't do that well, and they might not. It just sucks. Yeah. The whole situation just fucking sucks.
It's a giant shit sandwich, basically. It's just...
Yeah. And the new union contracts that came out some years ago were literally designed, you know, like, in case voice actors ever had to strike again, which, spoiler alert, they did. And, you know, now we're just, like, seeing another cycle go around. Not to mention all the stuff that is happening with AI in voice acting. Like, we need to do that. We need to fix that up as well, because, like, eventually there are some companies who literally want to try to replace voice actors with artificial intelligence. And trust me, not just for my sake, but for yours. You do not fucking want that. Trust me, you do not fucking want that. There's a whole... I'm going to actually link an article. Like, an amazing... It's a long article, but it's a great article down in the description below if you want to, like, read about that. All the positives and negatives about it, and, like, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, the union contracts, and what has to change in the union contracts. Because if you ever hear perpetuity in voice acting, just fucking run. Because all that means is that, like, these fuckers can use your voice. These fuckers can use your voice again and again and again and again in your future commercials or other things, and guess what? Without paying you again. That's all that perpetuity means. If you're a voice actor and you ever hear perpetuity, fucking run. Seriously, don't do it. Alright, but... You might think this is like just the gripes that were going down or whatever. What could have possibly... You know, I've learned all about, like, you know, this voice acting stuff. It's horrible that, you know, like, you guys are being treated like that. It sucks that, you know, so many aspiring, you know, voice actors and actresses, you know, who want to do this are being discouraged from breaking into the field because of, like, corporations just treating you all as disposable because of how many other people want to do it. And that's another big thing in voice acting is, you know, like, we tell people don't take lowball offers because it hurts all of us in the long run. There's a bit of a rabbit hole to this particular story, apparently. This is what I don't believe Dennis knows yet, and that I discovered today. This is from Bloomberg. Platinum Games made a statement about this. They are claiming that they attempted to rehire Helena Taylor as Bayonetta, paying her between $3,000 to $4,000 per session.
Mm-hmm. I read that too, yeah.
5 sessions, you did read that, and not for the whole game. They are then claiming that Taylor asked for a 6-figure sum with residuals, which Platinum Games is saying that's what they declined, and that's when it fell apart. And
the negotiations.
As far as the negotiations, yes, that's where the negotiations fell apart. And Helena Taylor is sticking to her version. That's fucked! In more ways than one, if that's true or false. Because now, what we know for a fact now is that one of them is lying.
Yep.
Straight up. This didn't become like, like just a disagreement or like, we don't want to pay our voice actors and then like you didn't take it out of pride or respect for yourself or like knowing that you're worth more than that. Now one of these parties is just fucking straight up lying about this. And I want to err on the side of Helena Taylor, in solidarity as a voice actor, and not only just that, but also for the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, the Mob Psycho situation, Crunchyroll, Funimation, all these companies not giving a fuck as far as paying their Western dubbers go. It's a big issue, and it's not a new thing. It's been happening in voiceover forever. You just didn't know about it because there was no fucking viral Twitter video about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, that would make a lot more sense with Jennifer Hale taking the role if that was what they were offering.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to be the first one to say it.
That actually makes a lot more sense for Jennifer Hale to take the role. But at the same time, it doesn't. Because even with 20K, which are like close to 20K, it's still not good. I mean, it's significantly better, and like it's still like a decent payday. But as far as like like AAA games, a $450 million franchise like Bayonetta, it's still not that good. And it also screams bullshit to me on Platinum Games' part because they said like, oh, in 5 sessions. That's so arbitrary. Mm-hmm. What if you don't complete it in 5 sessions? Why is that the specific amount? We're only going to pay for 5 sessions in the recording studio booth. If you don't do it in this much, fuck it. We'll just use less voice lines or whatever. No company has said that ever. So, like, the fact that they said specifically 5 sessions, I think that's arbitrary. Like, I don't think... I'm not a big-name voice actor, obviously. Like, I am, like... not in the slightest bit. I'm not even a professional by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, in contracts, it doesn't make any sense for them to arbitrarily be like, oh, 5 sessions. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. They might mark it down for a specific amount because that's how much in the budget they have to like book the recording studios. I don't know. But at the same time, for me, it seems kind of arbitrary to say like, yeah, we booked her for 5 sessions and we were going to say like 4K each, but we didn't, if it takes more than that, she's fired. Like, what? Then that means you have to like redo all of those sessions again with Jennifer Hale. It doesn't make any sense. Someone here is fucking lying.
I would also just like to add, like, the main person that I also feel that, like, they gotta get in touch with, or if, let's say, this individual that I'm about to say was even in the room during these negotiations, is her lawyer. Like, I would love to hear if this, he or she, like, lawyer, was in the room during those negotiations, and just to at least, like, him or he or her being like, let's say, the third party within like that whole, I guess, not really third party, but I guess like just the other eyes and ears of that deal when it was going on. To hear just them say, like, clarifying, like if this part of the story happened and if also this other part of the story happened, because usually for me, if I'm about to sign anything, like, and this is the one thing that I learned from at least taking my real estate course, like, way back, like, I guess now at this point, it's like maybe 2 years ago. Like, bring a lawyer.
Real estate. Bring a lawyer.
Bring a lawyer. Just bring a lawyer. Even
bring
if you
lawyers, guns, and money.
Like, even if, obviously, you gotta pay them for the time and shit like that, but just get a lawyer. Because chances are there's a lot of shit people miss when it comes to contracts. It's just the way that contracts was even conceived from whenever it was conceived was not made for, strictly speaking, your benefit, the signee, like the person who signs it. It's meant to benefit the one who's giving it to you. Honestly. Yeah. It's just the way things are. And in that same vein, you gotta have a guy who's well versed in this bullshit there with you to clarify that, hey, by the way, they're trying to fuck you here, they're trying to fuck you here, they're trying to fuck you here, turns page, they're trying to fuck you here, they're trying to fuck you here, and they're trying to fuck you here. You gotta have a guy that points that shit out. And I'd like to think at least maybe there'll be more details of this whole shit that'll come out like as the days go by, because it tends to be. Our attention spans about this stuff will be usually like maybe a week or two, and then we just won't care about it anymore. But within those 2 weeks, I would love to hear. Too busy
playing Bayo 3.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, not me, but other people.
Not me either. Just because not even just out of solidarity, which it would have been anyway. But I've never played the Bayonetta games. So. It's like I'm not gonna start with the third one.
Yeah.
So
maybe there will be more details coming about it. Maybe her lawyer was there. I would love to hear.
In an email, Taylor responded to Platinum Games' statement about this. She called it an absolute lie.
Yeah,
is what she said.
I read that too.
She said that Platinum was trying to save their ass. She's trying to save their ass and save the game, which makes perfect sense because there's people on Twitter canceling their pre-orders, like taking pictures of it and shit. Like 9 million people saw that video. That's huge. That's humongous. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, but 9 people are also not gonna be canceling the pre-orders. Maybe
not 9 million. No.
Maybe like 4 million. That's being generous.
Not even that much.
That's why I said that's being generous.
Yeah. Which
1 million max. The best I can do is 1 million.
The best I can do is 1 million. This leads me to think again that Helena is telling the truth, which I very much think she is, and I'm gonna get into why that is in a minute. But she also said, I'd like to put the whole bloody franchise behind me, quite frankly, and get on with my life in the theater.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. She says get on with her life in the theater. Does that mean she's not going to do more voice acting? Because I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
In the off chance Helena Taylor is lying and Platinum Games was actually paying them the rate that they did, or that they were going to, of basically like $20,000 in like 5 individual 4K sessions.
Yeah.
And Helena Taylor was lying about that. She's going to get blacklisted.
Which
she's gonna get blacklisted. Which
that's why I'm not sure.
Oh boy, because if she's trivializing this issue, which is already a huge issue in the world of voiceover, again, Mob Psycho voice actress, $150, less than I make in a day in my fucking job.
Less than what I make in a day, yo.
Yeah,
like I work.
We make more than voice actors, Dennis. What's up? High five.
I don't get paid like buckets of money, which I wish I did, but me and David, we don't really make like fucking fat stacks out here.
ADSAMONA. What's that spell, Dennis? Lots of money.
And look, I have my own issues with like, let's say, people within entertainment, and not even the thing is that like for me, the money they get, let's say like real A-listers, right? I don't get salty with the amount of money they get, because it's like they are really sometimes the faces of that industry.
If voice acting was actually as easy as a lot of people say it is, a lot more people would do it.
And a lot more people would actually make it too. Yeah, they would actually make it. Yeah. And like, let's say even just take, for example, like, I mean, like again, I know Chris Hemsworth that I'm about to mention.
I think I'm not there. I fucking suck at this shit.
Like Chris Hemsworth. Moving on a bit. Like, look, Chris Hemsworth, I know, is not exactly like, he's not a voice actor by any means, but he is like, the main driving thing about him is his face. It's his body. It's his whole image. That's what that's also the main thing that, a lot of perfume companies, like all these like little brands that like get these celebrities to like be the faces of that product. Like, that's what their shtick is. So obviously, for a voice actor where most of the time they don't show their fucking face, except that one episode in Chowder for whatever fucking reason, they just decided, we have no budget. We have to do a sexy car wash.
Which was my sexual awakening, by the way, and I'm not even exaggerating about that.
Yeah, we had
watching
a whole-
Tara Strong on all fours on that fucking car
She took
with the crop top.
She took one for the team for that one, and
She did.
And that's why I'm saying, like, you know, the two
How much
industries.
money Cartoon Network actually made? Well, like in that fucking car wash.
They probably got a lot of phone calls. It's like, how could you put this on the TV show? Like, my children was watching this and all that. Because, you know, like, a parent's being...
John DiMaggio is way too sexy. I can't look away.
But I'm just just to finish up, like, as drawing the difference. It's like, but that's why with VAs especially, like, you know, their main whole shtick is that obviously your voice, you know, like, that's your moneymaker, right? And it's the reason why guys like who, like the guy who voiced Archer and Bob's Burgers, I forgot his fucking name, but like, you know, he's like one of the most easily recognizable voices out there. And that's the thing, it's his fucking voice. It's not the way he looks. There's, like, again, it's just two different things that like people are gonna focus and pay attention on. And that's why, at least, you know, when it comes to guys like Chris Hemsworth, it's the reason why they get the fucking fat stacks that they do, because like that's just that whole part of the industry. Voice acting is obviously way more niche than, you know, let's say theater, or even just like, let's say, like, I don't even want to call it like live action acting, but just acting, like, you know, out in movies. It's just completely different.
Yeah,
completely different.
It's still acting, but it's different. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, that's why I said like it's like a niche compared to all of that, because like, you know, when people usually, you know, want to go into acting, they want to go into like acting, they want to go and be in the movies, they want to be in front of the camera, or even better yet, if you want to just like be, I don't know what a lot of like, you know, I guess actors became, which was like kind of just doing Shakespeare, like on like when they're not doing any projects. It's like Willem Dafoe, like there you go, like just go do that. But and it's like for that reason that I feel, you know, as far as where like the money is, right? It's like you don't hear, I don't know, guys like, let's say, I don't know if y'all remember him, Vic McGonagall, who like voiced Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist and a bunch of others. That guy, he got canceled if I remember, but the accusations from what I remember turned out to be bullshit. But he hasn't found work at all since then, which I found, you know, it's like, really, man? And you know who the guy was that propagated those fucking accusations? The same guy who voiced Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Sean Shamel was the one that basically faux canceled Vic McGonagall and got him essentially just basically labeled as an undesirable, unable to work with, like, in the industry. Just flat.
I didn't know about any of this.
Yeah, it was like a long time ago, like, thing, and it went under my radar for a while until like I found out like a bit more of the details. But and I think, I don't know, definitely, yeah, something has to change within like the voice acting industry, because
we need maybe we need to like redo our contracts or something.
Y'all need a better union.
The union needs to redo. Well, no, the union is like, well, I'm not fully versed in the union. I'm not the best person to ask about that, but like it was, you know, it was redid some time ago by a lot of it by Jennifer Hale. Actually, like, that's how much she actually cares. She like even hosted like some of the meetings. Literally, this is true, by the way. She hosted some of the meetings for it with other huge names in the industry at her fucking house. Like, literally had people over at her house to like redo all these things just to make sure the people below her weren't getting fucked. It's like,
good on Jennifer then.
Platinum is claiming they wanted to rehire her last summer and pay her $3K, $4K per session, which is like $15K total, which they claim is a significant increase over her pay for Bayonetta 2. I don't know why Helena Taylor would suddenly be mad about getting that pay now. All of a sudden, if she was paid less for Bayonetta 2, that makes no fucking sense. So, and then they also confirmed, like, also with residuals. Or it's like VGC was corroborating with Bloomberg. I think Platinum Games is lying their fucking asses off. I think they're lying straight up. And it's impossible for us to know. It's impossible for us to know, really. I think they're lying. Because if that's true, they're saying, you know, they're claiming that she took way less for Bayonetta 2. Why would Helena Taylor suddenly be so up in arms now about doing it for doing it for this much? That makes no sense. That literally makes no sense at all. Maybe she was confused. Maybe she didn't, like, you know, like her manager didn't read the contract to her right or something and just kind of fucked her over by, like, making it seem like it was only one session for 4K or something like that. Regardless, though, $15K total, that's still under decent for AAA work like this. That's still not like under. That's still under that. So the whole thing is just bonkers that it turned into a fucking he said, she said, and it turned into this kind of rabbit hole. And another reason that I'm leaning on the side of fucking Helena Taylor, besides, solidarity or whatever, is also because you gotta remember, this is the company that is ran by a guy who literally thinks he's a cartoon villain. Hideki Kamiya. Here's a fun fact about Hideki Kamiya. He has a golden rule on Twitter. He blocks anybody on the website who speaks English. I'm not making that up.
I know you're not.
I'm not making that up. If you speak English to him, he blocks you. Any of you fuckers on Twitter bragging about being blocked by Hideki Kamiya, I encourage you to go outside and touch grass. There's nothing special about it under any circumstances. You want to know who else is blocked by Hideki Kamiya? Glenn Tendo. Because he asked if Snake was ever going to come back to Smash. And Hideki Kamiya added him and everything about it, all passive-aggressive sarcastically, and then blocked him. They used to censor his name whenever they said it on the Glentendo podcast with a doo-doo train sound effect. Every time they said his name on there. That is Hideki Kamiya. He tweeted recently about it and everything because, like, everybody was adding him about this. They're like, fuck you, what are you doing? Like, why are you paying her this? And then he literally tweeted, obey my rules.
All right, yeah, I remember that.
The guy thinks he's Dr. fucking Eggman. Straight up.
Thinks he's God on his Twitter.
Regardless, the guy, he acts like he's a fucking rock star of the industry. Like, the guy's like a full-blown, like, malignant narcissist. Like, straight up. And that's another reason, is that this is the guy who runs this company. On top of that. So I don't know if he's in charge of the checks. People are blaming Nintendo for it because I believe Nintendo, owns enough of Bayonetta to the point where they finance her completely. They finance the games, if I'm not mistaken. So there's people blaming Nintendo for this, who think like Nintendo's the one who's not providing enough money for this. I don't know if that's true. None of us know if that's true. There's really no way of really knowing, and I, obviously, as a Nintendo brand ambassador, would not speak on it if it was, so there's just nothing really out there about that. I don't think that's the case, because Nintendo's pretty hands-off when it comes to Bayonetta. It's literally just like, they're like the money people, and that's it. Meanwhile, you have, like, the CEO of this company acting like, like he's about, like, acting like he's about to, like, threaten, like, the entire universe by, like, sinking, like, the center of the core of the Earth and, like, having magma erupt all over the Earth unless you pay him, like, $30 trillion or some shit. That's who this guy is. Straight up. And so that's my theory. I honestly think that's the case, but at the end of this, no matter who's lying, it doesn't matter, because the message remains the same. In that, voice actors need to be paid more and treated fairly.
Absolutely.
And Kamiya acts like a man-child with little dick energy.
Absolutely.
And it's not, animators too. Animators are treated like dog. They are treated like dog shit on top of this. The writer's strike that happened in 2004, creatives are treated like shit by the corporate bigwigs. And it's insulting, because these are the people who make the shit that makes you money.
Yeah.
It's awful to see, and it's why some people feel like the soul of Nintendo died with Iwata, because, like, new people, they just literally look like they've never touched a video game in their fucking lives, and, like, literally are just money people. We know money. Our business is money. It's like that fucking scene in Always Sunny where, like, Charlie becomes Frank's assistant when Frank goes back to be the CEO of his company again, and Charlie's like, Frank, I've been wondering, what do we make? We make money. No, I get that, but, like, what does your company produce? Like, with the product, what do you produce?
Money.
He's like, we produce wealth. Like, over and over again, just rephrasing it. He doesn't know what his own motherfucking company makes. He doesn't know the product. He just knows we make money. Like, that's all these fucking people are. Why do you think I fucking hate NFT crypto bros so much? Because they don't know what they're doing. They only see it as, like, money printing machines. Fuck you, Boogie. I'm glad you lost all the shit that you lost. Fucking asshole.
It does make me curious. Yeah, it does make me curious, too. It's like, because when a company goes public, right, then they're at the mercy of, like, their, board of investors, right?
Yeah.
And I'm, like, also wondering, it's like, you just wish you could be a fly in the wall in that investors meeting.
Yeah.
And just to see, like, who one of you even has, like, a microgram of gamer in you, like, at all? Like, does any of you at all, like, just even knows what a fucking Nintendo even is to begin with? Like, it really makes you wonder, because, like, this is also, you know...
Of course I do.
Like,
I have it right here. And he pulls out, like, the old, like Yamauchi, like, fucking, like, you know, trading cards that Nintendo made, like, before their video games. I have Nintendo right here. He says, what's my company make?
Because these are the same guys that... I mean, the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 was a travesty for the fucking books. For the books, guys. And CD Projekt Red...
For the books.
...is a publicly traded company. And, I don't know, man. Like,
It was such a shit show. My God,
it really was
such a shit show.
And, you know, essentially CD Projekt Red lied as far as the state of, like, what the game was in. They couldn't just delay it any further. They couldn't pull a Blizzard before Activision and just basically say that the game will ship when it's fucking ready. And mind you, at least up to the point when Cyberpunk was released, it had been delayed. I can't think of the straight up number, but it was delayed several times. Like, even for me, being a person that at least I was lukewarm excited about it because it looked pretty cool. I thought it looked cool. You know, I think everyone did. And, you know, I wouldn't have cared if it got delayed again, honestly. And to be fair, obviously with hindsight, probably should have gotten delayed anyways, because considering the fucking the absolute state that it was in when it was released.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I heard that, you know, I don't know, people, a lot of them not only blamed CD Projekt Red, but also blamed the board of investors, because more often than not, it's usually the board that will basically give the push and shove to a company and say, we don't care that it's not ready. We want you to push it out, and we want you to push it out the door, like, right now. Otherwise, basically, there's also that threat of, like, well, we're going to pull our investment. And there goes your guys, like, whole... Essentially, if you don't have our money, you guys will not be able to even float as a company.
Which is funny, because, like, you know, I remember Reggie Fils-Aimé, I don't think he's on it anymore, but he joined the board of directors. After he left Nintendo, he joined the board of directors for GameStop, like, to try to clean up the company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think he's on the board of directors anymore. It was pretty short-lived. But
and that also tells you, doesn't it? Like, you know, this is a bit of a different discussion than what we were talking about before, but it's like, you know, I still think, like, people really, like, I think kind of underestimate, like, the pull that these boards have with publicly traded, at least specifically speaking, video game companies, because they always have that, like, low-key, like, loaded gun saying that, okay, you're gonna like, basically put the gun on the table and say, you're gonna release it, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, of course. Yeah, good boy. You're gonna release it. We don't give a fuck if it's in a terrible state. Release it anyways. But, like, because that's the thing. The
Sony
board
gave a fuck.
But the board, though, they don't suffer any of the fallout. That's just on the company.
Yeah, they're literally they're like the Supreme Court of the fucking, like the fucking industry. They make these decisions that impact everybody else below them,
but not
with
them.
Zero fucking accountability.
And repercussions. Yeah, just absolutely nothing no hatred or vitriol is ever directed on them, because they're basically anonymous. I mean, maybe you could find, like, a registry. It's like, oh, like, all the board of like the investors in the board of investors for, I don't know, CD Projekt Red or even Nintendo.
They're not anonymous. You just have to give a shit. You just gotta research it is the thing.
But it's happened more often than not than people think. And, you know, I don't think Platinum Games is publicly traded. Probably not. They're not that big yet. But there's always, like, you know, people gotta realize, like, you know, there's always, like, these decisions that happen behind the scenes that influence all this crap. And I mean, well, as far as Platinum Games is concerned, and also Helena, like, a lot of that shit was kind of just between her, Kamiya, and then whoever, I guess, negotiated that contract or whatever. Because I'm pretty sure she didn't personally speak with him about this whole thing. But I don't know. It's like,
yeah, Jennifer Hale, she did make a statement.
Yeah,
about it. She just said with regard to Bayo 3 that as a longtime member of the voice acting community, I support every actor's right to be paid well and have advocated consistently for this for years. Anyone who knows me or has followed my career will know that I have great respect for my peers and that I am an advocate for all members of the community. I am under an NDA and am not at liberty to speak regarding the situation. My reputation speaks for itself. I sincerely ask that everyone keep in mind that this game has been created by an entire team of hardworking, dedicated people, and I hope everyone will keep an open mind about what they've created. Finally, I hope that everyone involved may resolve their differences in an amicable and respectable way. Love and respect to you all, Jennifer Hale. Simple, that's good.
Yeah.
To the point. I think Platinum Games has done crowdfunding before, if anything. Like, I'm looking this up right now, and I looked up their stock price. It says here that they did, like, a $2.23 million thing in Kickstarter in 2020.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I don't think they are publicly traded. They have 303 employees.
Nah, definitely not.
Okay.
I feel as if, like, the prerequisite... I mean, there's a lot of prerequisites, but
this company's owned by Sega.
Yeah.
So, it's so weird. It was originally a Sega IP, Bayonetta, developed by Platinum Games, which Nintendo now owns partly because they finance it. But Platinum Games is still the developer, which Sega still owns, yet they're technically not the publisher anymore.
That's just
It's so confusing, though, Dennis.
Yeah. It's like that's just Japanese video game companies in general. Like you'll find that at least for me, Sega has like tons of subsidiaries that I didn't even know about until
they're a bigger company than people think.
Yeah, that because they got Sega
people just
Europe.
think Sonic. They think Sonic and they think of Sonic's history of bad games and they're like, oh, Sega probably sucked. They don't make consoles no more. They don't make that much money. No, they're still a pretty fucking big company, bro.
They're fucking huge, man.
Yeah.
They're up there with the other big two, which is Nintendo and Sega. I gotta say,
anything, it was big Sony. Brain that they stopped making consoles because they're like, we do not want to put our money.
Yeah.
In this shit.
And also, it's just like, I think
buy Sonic for the GameCube.
Guys, there's a couple more thoughts, and then I guess we're just gonna wrap it up here. I bet you, Sega, Nintendo, and Sony all came together one day, and it's just like, all right, guys, Nintendo, whoever the fuck was in that room, it's like, we're gonna drop out of the handheld market and console market just flat out. We can't do it no more. We admit it. We can't compete with you when it comes to that shit. How the fuck do you
recently.
It's like, how the fuck do you do it? Like, do you work some Japanese black magic in your caves in fucking Tokyo and just conjure up a fucking console out of nowhere? I mean, for Sony at least, it's like that's their PS5 is still the PS5, so not gonna do nothing about it. But that's just Sega talking. But getting sidetracked. It's I guess just our last couple thoughts.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed. I want to go to the magical Nintendo cave that they have in the hills of Tokyo, where they actually make all the games. It's like this is their actual headquarters. Like the one in Kyoto is a fucking front.
It's just like nah, that's not our real fucking.
The one in Kyoto is a fucking. It's still a love hotel. After all these years, it's still a.
That person at the front desk is the lady that's been there for fucking 30 years already, and she
she's a hooker.
What'd you think she was? The guy's like, wait, are you telling me? Yes, she's a whore. No, she's a hooker.
It's like the scene at the beginning of The Boys where he's explaining what the fucking reality of superheroes is. It's like, no, Nintendo, their headquarters is in Kyoto. They don't use black magic to make their games. It's like, come with me.
Just brings him to this one cave inside Tokyo. It's just like, look what they do. Just drops a child into a cauldron. It's and then a game just pops out. Just
why do you think the games are so good? They're made from the souls of children. Yeah. Fucking. If there's anything here, and my concluding thoughts, I guess.
Yeah.
Regardless of which one of them is lying. Platinum Games.
Kamiya.
The thing is, it doesn't
change much as far as the whole issue.
No, it really doesn't. But what it actually is here, and what actually matters, no matter who's lying, the message remains the same, and a lot more people. I even tweeted when the video first came out of Helena Taylor, I retweeted it. I was just saying I'm so glad this video is blowing up. I'm so glad it's blowing up in the way that it is, because so many people do not know the realities of like how criminal some voice actors are paid and how corporate greed is trying to bring them down. Further on, how corporate greed is trying to bring them down by trying to create fucking literal personalization AIs that some voice actors have, like, you know, sold the rights to their fucking voices to, who don't understand that they're shooting themselves in the foot by doing that, by signing like a perpetuity deal where sometimes these people don't have to pay them. Now again, there's union contracts being worked on in some organizations where they say like, oh, like, yeah, every time we use like the AI that is your voice, you get paid for it. Like you get like residuals for it or whatever. Which again, still a slippery slope in my opinion. Please read that article that I'm linking in the description below. Point is, no matter who's lying, so many people do not know the reality of like the corporate greed that goes on for voice actors. You think that shit just happens to animators? You think it just happens to writers? It happens to voice actors as well, because they're not real actors. They're behind the screen. They're reading their lines, dude. They're literally like, they have the lines in front of them. They're not actors. Plop any motherfucker who just reads their lines in front of a microphone and has that shit put into the game. Watch how much you hate the game. Again, Ronda Rousey, Mortal Kombat 11. Perfect fucking example of like corporations just like using this for publicity, thinking it's gonna go fine. Oh, it's voice acting. Just get Ronda Rousey, like she's a celebrity, she'll read her lines, like, you know, she'll be fine. And like literally it sounded like she wasn't even directed. So point is, I'm glad that video blew up. I'm glad it did, because it's making so many people like learn about and educate themselves in an issue that I have known about for some time now. And, you know, again, didn't get taken seriously until there's a, you know, major Twitter video about it. It's so funny how it took a voice actress literally breaking her NDA like that, straight up, like balls to the walls, like just going out here like, fuck you guys, I want to do as much damage as possible. I don't care how this makes me look. I don't care if this blacklists me or whatever. Going back to the theater, breaking her NDA to make sure that message gets out. And I respect that. That takes balls. Usually it takes balls, unless a person's lying, in which case it doesn't take much balls. But, you know, I don't think she is. That's my humble opinion. I don't know anything. You know, point is, no matter who's lying, message remains the same. I implore you to educate yourself more by reading the description down below. And before we get into the plugs, Dennis, if you have any final thoughts, if you already gave yours, if you didn't.
I personally will just say that I think voice actors should get their dues. They deserve it. They are the souls of a lot of their projects, if not, you know, all the projects that they work on. And I think also things like this and the change that it needs will take time, but at the very least, I think if anything, this whole issue will kind of bring the discussion to the mainstream a bit. Because again, you know, the mainstream, you know, public's attention span is usually the time limit of like a week, if not maybe even less than that. So if anything, if a discussion is kind of at least tossed around a bit, that is at least something that I will be happy about, because it is something that does warrant it. And, you know, and also, like, I don't know you, Helena, but, you know, just wish you all the best, if nothing else. Like, that's my thoughts. And here are our plugs. You can grab us and see us in Spotify, not Facebook, because Facebook is gay, Instagram, and I've been slacking on the memes. And we actually got a couple more followers, and thank you, and all of you people who followed us, because I don't remember your names, but I have seen the additional follows, so thank you for that. But and also you could check us out on Twitter. You could even check out David's Twitter. He has a lot of spiciness on that Twitter account, so you can go and check that out. You can also go ahead and subscribe to our well, I say our, but it's mostly David's YouTube, and like and comment on today's episode, and just leave us your thoughts about like this whole issue. And you know, if you agree or disagree with what we said in any way, please let us know. I don't know why I'm talking like Stewie from Family Guy, but you know, if anything, yeah, guys, leave your thoughts. I'm kind of curious just to hear like what your guys' opinion is about all this. I feel as if like everyone's kind of universally like on Helena's side, but you know, maybe they'll see like a contrarian here or two. I saw a guy who literally thought She-Hulk was actually not that bad, so hey, someone's got a hot take for everything, so you know, fuck it. So we'll see. You know,
leave your thoughts in the comments below. Fat Man. Follow us on Double D Pod. Can't do a Stewie voice. I can only say Fat Man. Fat
Guys, we will catch you next week. We love you.
Follow us on Double D Pod on Twitter.
I love you, and I equally hate you. So,
And Double D Experience 21 on Instagram. Peter.
He's saying bye. Bye.
Dreams.
Love you. Not.
My two lovely uncles.
Oh, I don't love you.
Killed in a drone strike in Syria.
You deserved it.
They kind of did, actually. Let's.